Hello guys, welcome to Wofoy TV. Thank you for stopping by my channel to watch my video. Please click on the subscribe if this is your first time here or you have been coming here and you never subscribe. Please click on the subscribe. Thank you so much for doing this. Guys, today I'm going to talk about using your occupation or using your job to qualify for the green card lottery. Alright? When it comes to the green card lottery, there are two things that you can use to qualify, and you only need one of the two. You either use a successful completion of secondary school education, or you use work experience of 2 years in an occupation that has SVP rating of 7 and above. And the 2 years of experience should be within the last 5 years. All right. So most people who qualify for the green card lottery may be using their secondary school certificate. So today, we're just going to talk about the occupation part. Now, when you're using your occupation to qualify, where does the process start? The process starts on your DS260 application. I believe you have already checked to see whether your job qualifies or not before you apply for the green card lottery. When you win the green card lottery and you're filling your DS260, there is a portion where it asks for work, training, and education. If you're using your occupation to qualify, then it's possible that you probably didn't finish secondary school education, or you probably may not have the best grades. If your focus is using your occupation to qualify and you have determined that your job qualifies, on the DS260 application, when you put in your job information, there is a question on there. It asks you, does this job require 2 years of training to do? And quite often, a lot of people click no, so that you can quickly go through the process. Let's say that you're not using your education, so you may have some kind of vocational certificate and you did your apprenticeship or training for 2 years or 3 years before you were able to get the certificate in order to do the job that you have at the moment. So when you're filling your DS260 and it asks if your job requires 2 years of training or preparation to do it, I would advise you to say yes. And when you say yes, you're going to have to list your duties. Okay? When you say that your job requires 2 years of training, minimum, okay? Minimum 2 years of training to do that job, then you need to say yes on your DS260 and then list out your responsibilities or your duties. That is where your CV, that is curriculum vitae, or your resume come in. Make sure that you have prepared your CV or your resume. You can check on Google to get example template so that when you get to this point on your DS260, you can copy what you do from your curriculum vitae, which is the CV, or your resume. Because when they ask for your duties, you can say, plan, develop, coordinate. That is where you list out what you do at your job. Say that somebody went to the training college to be a teacher. Now, for most teachers, you should have completed secondary school. But let's say that your grades are not good, and so you want to use your occupation to qualify. On the DS260, when you're asked, does your job require 2 years of training or preparation to do, you must say yes, and then you list out your duties at your role. Okay? Remember, I said that is where you have to explicitly state and list out the things you do I perform this, I coordinate this, I teach children from the ages of this, I plan weekly schedule, I create curriculum, I create this, I provide that, and you list those things there. This part is very important because especially if your job falls in the SVP of 6 and less than 7, if you disqualify yourself here and then you go to the interview and you want to use the same work to convince them, you're making it a little bit difficult for it to be accepted. So on your DS260, you have ample opportunity to put that information on there so that by the time you are ready, you show up to the interview, they have already gone through your profile. They've gone through the things that you said you do, and it would have given them enough time for them to do a little bit of research to determine that your job qualifies. Guys, if you will notice, there have been times that some people's job that fall in zone 3 have been approved for visa, and some people's job in zone 3 have not been approved. That is a discussion for another day. But I will personally encourage you that on your DS260, if your job required you to be in school for 2 years in order to get that type of certificate, if you're a teacher, teacher training colleges take 2, 3 years or 4 years to do it. So why would you say that your job doesn't require 2 years of training? If you are a nurse, why would you not say that your job requires 2 years of training in order to do it when you went to school for 2, 3, or 4 years in order to become a nurse? You shouldn't play with this portion of your DS260 because it will give the consul officer enough time for them to go through your profile. By the time you arrive at your interview, they would have probably made a determination and they would just be asking you questions about your job to reinstate what you listed on the DS260. But if you say no and then your job falls in zone 3, then now you have left everything on the consul officer to find reason to approve your visa or to find reason to not approve your visa. So please pay particular attention to your DS260 when it asks, does his job require 2 years of training to do? Don't take the easy way out, because I know when you select no, it allows you to just go through it. Like, you list your job, you say no, you go to the next one. You list your job, you say no, you go to the next one. But when you say yes, then you'll be given the opportunity to list what you do. So those of you who may be in zone 3 and you are worried, you're concerned, but you still want to pursue this process, then I will encourage you that on your DS260, if your job took you through training, you had to do apprenticeship for 2 years, you had to go to school for two years to get a certificate that would allow you to do that job, then I would say that you must indicate that on your DS260. On the day of your interview, you will have to bring documentations to prove that you do the job that you say you do. And you might be asked to verify your knowledge about the particular profession that you are claiming to have experience in. So on your interview day, you make sure that you can bring introductory letter. In some countries, they call it introductory letters. In some countries, it is job offer or statement of employment. Any of these can help show that you work for this particular employer that you stated that you work for. You did this type of job that you said you did. So on that letter, they need to list out who the employer is. So that information should be on a company's letterhead. We need to know who the employer is. We need to know what job you did over there. What is your role, your title? They need to include your full name to show that it is for you. They need to list out when you started working there, the period, whether you are currently working there, you are not currently working there. And then whoever writes out that letter must include their phone number and their contact information, just in case the embassy wants to contact them to verify this information. If you find yourself in a situation where you are self-employed and your job qualifies, you definitely don't want to write an introductory letter for yourself. However, what you might be able to do is to show statements from work that you have done. If, let's say you are a video editor, that is your company, that you do this business, you have clients that you have worked for a while, then you must have a portfolio. Something to show that I did this for this person, I did that for this person. This is a statement, this is my accounting, my bookkeeping. This shows that I did this job for this person. Oh, this is my website. Take screenshots and print them out so that you can show it. I will say it is something like a portfolio, so that they will see that you actually do this. This is a job that you do and you make a living out of it. It's not like you going and saying that I am a video editor and you don't do that job as often. It's like once in a while you do that job. This should be a full-time job, okay? So you must show evidence that you have actually performed the job, the services for others, and you have been paid. You earn a living from that. So if you're self-employed, then definitely don't go and sit there and write introductory letter for yourself and put your own contact information on there. It wouldn't make sense. But you want to bring some kind of portfolio, the things you do. I did this job, I'm a sculptor, I did this work for this person on this date. You should have like an album listing out what you do, and it will help if you have a registered business. A registered business that shows that you've been filing your taxes, paying your taxes. Those things can help a lot. All right. Other things that you could add will be your retirement contribution. Most people who work contribute towards their retirement. So in your country, there might be a pension scheme. Is it like SNCC in Ghana? Is it like 401k, how we call it in America? If you have made any contribution, then you can bring your statement there showing that this is the company that you work for. But remember that on your, say, SNCC contribution statement, it's going to list out your job role. So be careful if you are lying about your job, your title will be listed on that statement. So just be mindful, okay? Make sure that your information is consistent. Now, when it comes to using vocational certificate to qualify for the Green Card Lodo, I'll make a detailed video and talk about MVTI certificates. I know a lot of you are concerned and worried about that particular certificate. So I'll make a video, talk about that, and then how it applies to other vocational certificates and how you can work around that. All right. So when you go for your interview, you need to bring evidence that shows that you do the job that you do. Please know that you can bring evidence from the last 5 years. Okay, so that means that the job that you used to do within the last 5 years, let's say now you work for a new company, but before then you work for another company, before then you work for another company. So within the last 5 years, all the companies that you work for, you should bring evidence for that, as long as these are jobs that will qualify. Okay, maybe you're currently unemployed, but you used to work for somebody and that job qualified, you should get the letter for that job. Don't think that it only applies to your current employment. So long as it falls within the last 5 years, if that job qualifies, if you have 2 years of experience minimum in that occupation, it doesn't matter whether you are currently employed by that company or not. You can use that evidence to help you with your case, right? So guys, this is where I want to end this video, but like I said, I'm going to make an in-depth video and talk about vocational certificates. They don't necessarily qualify as education for the DV lottery, but there's a work around it, and I want you to watch that video and then learn something. Guys, if this is your first time here, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I know majority of you guys who come here watch the video and you don't subscribe. Please subscribe so that we can grow this platform, and then there will be more engaging content here. Follow me on Facebook, Wofoy TV. Go to my website, www.wofoytv.com. I have a lot of content. When you go to click on blog, there are a lot of articles there, and then underneath the blog tab, there are information about U.S. student visa application process. I have typed out everything. There's information about the DS260, everything that goes into the DS260 application. And then I'll be sharing interview experience on that page so that the ones that you cannot look and find on Facebook, you can find it on my website. Thank you guys. I love you, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye.